And if it's a ransomware attack, we're not surprised at all, because there's a lot of these going on, and a lot of them don't tend to get reported. That's part of the problem here. This is one of the first local reports that we're getting of a massive ransomware attack.
Have other hospitals been hit with
Absolutely,
ransomware?
absolutely. In LA, there was a huge story in March of last year when a hospital in California was hit, where they actually paid out a ransom of $5,000 in order to get access back to their computers. There are reports from all over the country. We've had local reports as well in Niagara County and Lockport. We've had attacks, not in hospitals, but in healthcare centers, police stations, for instance. These attacks are everywhere. These are the reported attacks. We know there are a lot more attacks that are happening at the smaller level, nonprofits, local businesses, churches, for instance, that are not getting reported. So this is a huge problem, and it's one of the problems where we're just looking at the tip of that iceberg right now.
Why are they going after the medical facilities?
Well, for one, it's easy, right? Medical facilities have a lot of employees. Remember, how these attacks come in is through emails, infected emails. So it's an email, it's a spear phishing email. You click on a link or an attachment, and that link or attachment directs you to the malware that basically locks up your entire computing system. So anyone who's got email is a potential target. Now, hospitals have employees at all levels, and they have a lot of them. So it's easy to target many of them and get one hit. Remember, it just needs one hit, one victim, for this thing to start spreading. And so that's why we see it in bigger companies. We also see it getting reported a lot more in bigger companies.
Once it infects your system, are you stuck? Like, you have to pay, or is there any way to break the ransomware?
Unfortunately, the way, depending on the malware strain that they're using, the system will immediately seize. In other words, it'll lock down and encrypt all your computing programs, software, and files. The insidious part of this is this thing will spread very quickly through your network, and it'll infect all the computers in your network. It'll shut down anything that's even on a cloud server like Dropbox. And there really isn't any option once it's encrypted to turn that system back until you plug out of the system and go to a backup that has not been touched, not been infected. And most small companies don't have those kind of backups. So you got to go back in time to a backup that has not been touched, not been infected, and hopefully is not connected to this network. And that's very rare. Only the bigger companies have those kind of devices already set in. So somebody like ECMC, we would hope, has that kind of a pretty deep, backup that they're going to come up and utilize. But that's going to take time to revert the systems back. Otherwise, you're better off just paying, because you have a very short window. Usually this is a 24-hour window within which you got to pay. Otherwise, you're going to lose your files forever.
The ransomware will wipe them all out? Or
the ransomware will basically lock up the entire system, encrypt the entire system. And the way the ransomware works is the hacker will give you a 24-hour or a 12-hour window, and he'll give you a set amount of money that he wants. And usually it's money that most people would be willing to pay. So for it'll be $500 or $5,000, depending on the size of the company. And if you really think about it, the way they look at it, you'd pay $500 rather than lose all your system. They don't care about your files. They don't care if you lose it. They'll just walk right away from it. And so many people pay, and the estimates are anywhere in between 2014 and now close to about $20 billion with a B of money that has been paid in ransomware attacks all over the country.
That's amazing. $20 billion for ransomware.
Yeah, but it was we were looking at 2014, 2015. The FBI reported about $20 billion. Last year we were reporting about $1 billion that we know of in the reports. So when you do the math, these are some staggering numbers. Like I always say, if the internet were a city, it would be the most dangerous city to live in. We wouldn't want to live in that city anymore.
That's a great quote. I love that.
That's right.
Who's putting these things together? Are they people in this country, or are they out of country?
Unfortunately, we haven't apprehended people who are doing this. So most of these people are people who are not from this nation. They're people in Russia and the Ukraine. They're from different parts of the world doing it. Remember, the way it works is it works through email. So it's remotely done. And the guys who are doing the attacks are not even the guys who are creating the malware. You can today, you and I, any of your viewers can buy malware off the shelf, put it on an email that you or I craft, and send it to another person. So there is malware for hire, literally. And so the malware is very sophisticated, keeps getting updated. It's a real company that's creating it. And then there's a third party who's using it, and there's someone else who's sending it. And so it's very hard to apprehend these people. And today there are very few real individuals, criminals who have been apprehended in the United States and prosecuted for a ransomware attack.
Wow, amazing. amazing. So how do you protect yourself, or how do these businesses protect themselves?
Well, businesses, the problem here is trying to stop it at its source. And the source of this is infected email. It's spear phishing emails. So we've got to get better at detecting it. And for this, every one of us in that company, every individual, every employee has to be trained, has to know what not to do. And that's the hard part. You just need one victim. So training is a big part of this. Training in cyber vigilance. And it's also developing better habits, what I call cyber hygiene. You have to have better cyber hygiene. And this means, what kind of devices are you bringing into the company? Today we have phones and smart watches and all these devices and wearables that are coming into the marketplace. In the near future, we're going to see ransomware attacks that lock you in your car because it's probably an electronically operated vehicle. So there's some very scary ramifications to where we're going with this. So cyber hygiene developed now will help us in the long term. And then it's the other things, which is things like creating backups and making sure that these backups are not connected to one of our cloud servers or not connected to the network, separating the backup, right? Knowing that a ransomware attack has happened and getting out of that system right away, shutting it down, going off the internet. And these have to happen within minutes. So we have a lot of things, and we've talked about a lot of these things, and these are important things. And until people get vigilant and serious about this, this problem isn't going away anytime soon. It's only going to get worse.